In the heart of our great nation, where the strength of our communities is built upon the foundation of strong and loving families, an urgent crisis is unfolding. Child Protective Services, CPS, an institution designed to safeguard our most vulnerable, has in many cases betrayed its noble mission. Too often, families are torn apart not by neglect or abuse, but by systemic failures and corruption. We can no longer stand idly by as these injustices continue. We are here to give a voice to those who have been isolated, to shine a light on the corruption, and to rally our fellow citizens in this critical fight for justice. Every day, countless families are caught in a web of bureaucracy and abuse of power, their lives disrupted and their bonds shattered. Children, who should be nurtured and protected, are instead placed in situations that can be just as, if not more, harmful than the circumstances from which they were taken. Parents, often bewildered and powerless, face insurmountable odds as they fight to reunite with their children. This is not the America we believe in. We cannot allow these injustices to persist. Our mission is to educate, to inform, and to inspire action. We promise to bring you daily updates on CP. In the heart of our great nation, where the strength of our communities is built upon the foundation of strong and loving families, an urgent crisis is unfolding. Child Protective Services, CPS, an institution designed to safeguard our most vulnerable, has in many cases betrayed its noble mission. Too often, families are torn apart not by neglect or abuse, but by systemic failures and corruption. We can no longer stand idly by as these injustices continue. We are here to give a voice to those who have been isolated, to shine a light on the corruption, and to rally our fellow citizens in this critical fight for justice. Every day, countless families are caught in a web of bureaucracy and abuse of power, their lives disrupted and their bonds shattered. Children, who should be nurtured and protected, are instead placed in situations that can be just as, if not more, harmful than the circumstances from which they were taken. Parents, often bewildered and powerless, face insurmountable odds as they fight to reunite with their children. This is not the America we believe in. We cannot allow these injustices to persist. Our mission is to educate, to inform, and to inspire action. We promise to bring you daily updates on CPS, exposing the truth and fighting for reform. We must remember that the future of our nation depends on the strength and unity of our families. By standing together, we can hold CPS accountable and ensure that it fulfills its true purpose, protecting children and preserving families. This is a fight we must not and will not lose. We are committed to saving our families and securing a brighter future for all. The road ahead is challenging, but with your support, we can make a difference. Together, we will bring hope to those who have lost it and ensure that justice prevails. Let us unite with unwavering resolve and a sense of patriotic duty to safeguard the integrity of our families and the future of our nation. The children in our country are being made to be the victim of a situation they are not involved, and then sent to a foster home where they again are reintroduced to trauma of being the odd ball. Our courts are contaminated with young, inexperienced caseworkers and polluted with bribes, high-priced bonuses for speedy adoption of terminated parents, and judges who don't practice law with the Constitution in their sights. This is a problem. George Washington never thought of children as pawn in the game of freedom and American values, and never had he wanted to sell them. They were from his maker, his creator. Our children are being run down for no other reason. then the profits being made in some way. Somehow these government agencies make money hand over fist day in and day out. They have you go to classes that they are billing for, and there is no viable reason for you to attend. Yet when you hear an update, CPS tells you that you're further away from when you started. Reunification is your goal, not theirs. And after you go through 12+ months of grueling, painstaking classes and meetings, all while getting the slimmest amount of time to visit your child, and even worst, you are always supervised, never alone again with your child. It's awful. How do they feel, do you think?
Where's the outrage? Why is nobody standing up for these families being torn apart by CPS?
Please don't tell me you're going to put all your bets on this superhero. You grown-ups are supposed to be coming to his rescue. Stop ignoring this problem. There is nothing more I can say to any of you. Please fight CPS and help those who have lost so much they can help themselves.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to CPS Victims Hunting for Justice. That was a really rough start, and it still is a little rough right now, but we're getting there. It's Monday, of course. I want to welcome everybody back from a long weekend. Well, not a long weekend, a weekend. How about that? Let me try to get these graphics off the screen so that we can see my beautiful face a little better. I don't know why these are just popped up, but they are. But I'm hoping that all of you had a weekend that was CPS free. I'm hoping that you had a great weekend with your families. If you still have family, I'm hoping that you guys all just had a good time, because days are limited in our lives. We're only here on this earth for so long. So with who we do have left in our lives, we should spend some time with them and enjoy their company, because too often do we forget that there are people that are alive still in our families. And if you're fortunate enough to still have family members that you associate with, that you should spend time with them, and don't put them in the back seat to this fight, because this fight seems to consume, this fight does consume an awful lot of your time, and it's tiresome, it's grueling, and it's day in and day out of no results. And you may not know it, but you do have some kind of a support system behind you. So make sure that you pay attention to those people that are there supporting you, and make sure that you give them some allotted time too, because you always just, you seem that you're so busy, you can't figure out, the time of the day to figure out when to shower and brush your teeth, let alone to visit another family member. But, when they're gone too, you're going to say, wow, why didn't I? Because I still had access to them. So please, guys, it's very, very important that you remember those that are still around you, that you still are in touch with, and that you still do talk with, or that they still talk to you, because we all know what happens with the stigma of this. The stigma of this is rotten. You are a terrible person. Friends of 30 years will never speak to you again. Your family members turn on you and think that you're terrible, this, that, or the other. You don't know what people are going to do, and you don't know how people are going to act. But I will tell you this, it is in the majority of the time bad. And, if you do have someone that's standing in your corner, please, please, please make sure they realize how important that they are to you. That being said, when we have these long weekends, in the summertime especially, well, from us up here, we're in Maine, and Josie's up there in the great north, and then Vinny's up here in Maine. So summertime is the time that we would usually take pictures, and we're off vacationing or going up to camp or doing one of these things. So we're taking pictures all the time, and we're posting them on social media. Well, guys, this is fastly becoming a no-no, and it's becoming a no-no because CPS is able to scan through your life, see where they can cut you off, and use that social media against you. So it's a terrible thing. It's terrible that they weaponize now a fun tool that was created for everybody to share their families, to be able to, families that went around. It was a crazy thing that it went from and getting a hold of your ex, your family on the outskirts. Now they've turned it into something of, be careful, don't put a picture of your kid up, don't put this up, don't put that up, don't put this up. And it's all true, because they could be watching you, and they could be finding out what your life is like, what your kids look like, if they want to kidnap your kid, all of this stuff. And as always, guys, please, hey, when you guys do this thing right here, the chat, it totally helps us up. It puts us into a different level of the algorithm. So fill that chat out. Put where you live, what your questions are. Just say hi. I don't know, just do something. Fill these chats up, because the more people that are in the chats, the more times it gets sent out, and the more people we get watching the show. So as we know, that's what this is all about, is the kids. So tonight, guys, that's where we're going to be. Let's bring out Josie. We got Vinny with us here tonight. We got Ross is in the house with us.
Hi.
We got Martin and Minnie, and we got Mr. Herbert. Full house, guys. How you doing?
It's a full house.
I know. Josie, well, it's super nice. Josie, Monday. What do you have for news from the Great White?
Nothing much. I'm still waiting for the report. I'm hearing feedback. Is it me?
I just clipped Herbert. Let's see. Who's got us having the feedback?
Hello?
Herbert, is it you? Let's try Herbert. Is it still there? Still there?
No, I think
good?
it's better.
All right. Herbert, feedback, bud.
Yes, I'm here. No, I don't have any feedback. It's not possible.
Is it gone now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's
so.
gone.
All right, cool. We got it.
The
out.
only way, hey, let me educate everybody. I learned about feedback because if you put your phone or a computer, whatever, on what do you call, speakerphone, that causes feedback. When I put a bud in my ear, you will not get feedback.
I'm on my speakerphone because I'm deaf and I
Yeah,
can't hear shit.
speakerphone can cause feedback.
Oh.
Well, whatever. It must have got scared because I don't hear it now, but I did.
No,
hear
I'm
it.
just telling you because I was always doing feedback until I went to an electronics store and they taught me that you got to have a bud in your ear. Then it will not have feedback.
No kidding.
You know those old guys with technology, eh?
Yeah. Herbert, we're gonna get you.
Canadians with their A. So cute.
Herbert, we get you one of these. We get you one of these setups, bud.
I need one of those.
I
too.
have that in my ear. I have a bud in my
Yeah,
ear.
Ross got it. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's
Yeah, I just got a little bug in my ear. That's all I have.
right. No, those are nice. What kind do you have?
But it's not gonna. But by doing that, it won't cause feedback. But if I put my phone on full speaker, it's gonna have feedback.
Right. So I'm glad that we've done. What kind of earbud do you use, Herbert?
Oh, I don't know. Something I purchased from Amazon.
From the store, from the young guy at the store.
From the the guy that told him it was going to be great. Hey guys, Carrie's watching tonight. Let's say hey to Carrie. She's back.
Hey,
So that's
Carrie.
Carrie is
Hey,
back. So that's cool. So what's up? Does anybody have any CPS related updates that they want to give us before we go cracking into anything?
Absolutely.
Oh, Vinny's got something. What do you got, Vinny?
Oh, okay. So today I was scrolling through the policies and procedures of CPS here in Maine. And I came across, it says in their policies and procedures in subsection A caseworker will inform the non-offending parent that the caseworker is going to make a referral to the CAC, and the CAC will contact the parent. They never
Okay.
did this in my case whatsoever.
So who's the CAC?
Child Advocacy Center.
Yeah. That's a question for Roz here, right?
The rape or the incest interviews.
But they never told us.
So
They-
Roz,
They never contacted us regarding our second oldest child.
Roz, what's the deal about that? That the caseworker's supposed to contact the CAC?
Well, if they made policies, then that's what they should have done. And if not, keep that up your sleeve. You're going to need it.
I also found in their policies and procedures that in a sexual abuse case where there is allegations of sexual abuse, they are supposed to, by their policies and procedures, have a physical exam done. There was one never done.
They don't follow their policies. They
Yeah,
never
but that's a
follow
big
their
one.
policies.
That's a really big one.
Yeah.
That's your evidence, but see,
The in your case, the offense was too far for them to get physical evidence like semen or whatever, but DNA evidence. But
But there's no physical evidence, right?
well, there's things like, is the person a virgin?
Yes.
Right.
Do they have, and I had a case like this, do they have a STD?
No.
I know yours doesn't, but the point is, in the case I was working, neither father, stepfather, or the mother had an STD, but the child
Did.
have a vaginal infection
Whoa.
that could come from sitting on a park bench with a bunch of droppings, bird droppings.
No.
It's something you can get something or other. And she tried to say she got it from her stepfather when him and his wife tested negative.
Wow, that's crazy.
That sounds like, Vinny, you're in the clear for that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a big,
Yeah, well,
don't you think?
On the upswing in the criminal process, I spoke to my attorney today. I have a meeting with him tomorrow. I did send him the stuff about the Katahdin, and he is looking into that because if they did violate using Katahdin all through this case, that is a major violation of due process.
But
So-
What is
I got a question. I don't know about you guys in the United States, but here in Canada, and like I've been through this. My daughter, I got proof that she was SA'd inside a CPS. Well, I got it all. Okay, they use the immunity clause to say, they're not responsible, and everything is like that here.
We don't
You guys
have
that?
we don't have absolute immunity here.
we
do.
I mean, for the social workers, we sort of do, and if we don't, they act as if we do. So,
They
I mean,
act
it's,
things that they can. Okay.
Absolute immunity. Look
See,
up
they-
see, that's
versus
I'm going-
irritation.
I'm gonna
That's
check
where
out-
that's where the policy changes because of this. Okay. It states in their policies and procedures that they have a right to talk to our children without our consent.
Correct.
That is treason against the Constitution.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not.
Why can they talk to a child without the consent of a parent?
I'll tell you why. Okay? Because it will be denied if the parent is guilty. You have
Right.
to remember, all laws, rules, regulations, policies, and procedures were all made for one reason only. Somebody got stupid.
somebody
Okay.
got what?
Stupid.
Right.
Yes.
Okay? So, I mean, really, look at it this way, Vinny. If you have a 14-year-old girl who legitimately is being raped every other night by her stepfather and her mother condones it, do you really want to ask the parents?
No.
Huh?
Of course.
No, I mean,
Do you really want to ask the parents' permission?
but when it comes to two kids that were not involved, them asking to talk to them when they lived with me and my wife, that is for us to decide per
I say yes.
constitutional law.
The child who is
True.
they can talk to. I agree with that. They should be asking for the other children.
Yeah. And they,
As
for all.
unless it's really going on.
I don't even understand if this is even an issue that this little girl is being done this every second night by her father or stepfather or whatever.
Right.
Where the hell are the cops? Like fuck
Right.
CPS, charge him
Correct.
and put him in jail. Like and then investigate.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
That would be
that-
less.
It makes
They
no
did that,
sense.
right?
that is where we have to change the laws in this in every single state. I don't know, Josie, if you would have to change that at your federal level or at your Providence
But
level.
the cops can't charge them because they're CPS workers or they have like they'll take the kids as collateral and just be like, we're just gonna take the kid and you can just stay home and be a victim of CPS
They do
instead
that
of being
here.
a victim of your crime.
They're not supposed to do it here.
But this is
Okay.
okay. So this is what it says. In a recent case, CM versus Commissioner of the Department of Children and Families in the Supreme Judicial Court granted further appellate review discussing whether a Department of Children and Families social worker and supervisors should be granted absolute immunity when filing a care and protection petition. The court explained that absolute immunity ensures governmental functions are protected from interference from civil liability litigation. The Supreme Court quoted a Pennsylvania judge stating, "Social workers walk a tightrope in trying to do what is in a child's best interest." The court agreed that without absolute immunity, social workers would act so cautiously that they may fail to intervene in situations where the child are in danger. The court held that social workers and
But it's
supervisors
acting
shall
in
be
the
granted
exact extreme
absolute
opposite.
immunity against civil litigations, which
Okay.
means parents and caretakers cannot sue a social worker for misrepresenting, lying in their affidavits.
No, that's not what it said.
But
It's
it's
Yeah.
not fair
between lines.
that protecting governmental authority. They are not a governmental authority. They are contracted by the government, but they are not a government.
They're not, okay, they do not have absolute immunity because if they step outside their policy, procedures, or the law, they can be sued.
Who is gonna sue them? That's the question because nobody
I
will
am.
do it.
I have nothing.
Here in Cali, we have precedents in the U.S.
And have
Right.
you won?
Huh?
Have you
No
won?
one wins.
Yeah, they won.
Okay. A
So
lot
it
of
says-
times or not many?
There's a guy in California who's winning all the time. If I just remember his name, I'd be okay.
Okay.
Mike,
Vince
you're talking
Davis.
about Mike.
I don't think so.
Oh, she's talking about Michael, or not Michael. What's his name?
Yeah, Vince Davis. Yep.
I worked for Vince for a long time.
Oh, Vince.
So it's this is what it says. It says it is important to remember, as the court noted in their decision, that there are other means by which the public is protected against misconduct with the Department of Children and Families. One example of this protection is a parent or caretaker can file a complaint against a social worker with the Board of Registration of Social Workers, that's lame. That's lame.
So
obviously.
lame.
And then that's our way of I'll file a complaint against you if you lie and blow our case. You know, Brooke, what do you think about all this?
Well, when all my stuff went down, I had road. I asked. I just went to the one.
Brooke, your volume's way low.
Oh, my.
I can't hear
It's really
her.
low.
Yeah,
Right.
I can't agree.
Volume. Let me see if I can do anything to help you here. I have a way to help you. I can maybe crank you up a little bit. Let me see if that will work. Oh, Mazel Tov. I don't know what that was, but
Yeah.
Is that better?
yeah, there you go. You're better now.
Okay. When I went through all my stuff with this, I went to the Board of Social Workers, and they are them. Like, I didn't get any remedy from it because they were like, I asked them how I could file, a complaint, and I asked if, like they had the licenses and stuff, and if they were following policy, and they wouldn't give me any straight from the board. As far as that goes too, I had my attorney when I put in for an appeal. I did it myself in district, but I needed help. I needed help with the appeals court because I didn't know the process. So I got a public defender, and she went in and she voluntarily dismissed my appeal without my knowledge and my consent. Well, so then I went to the board, the lawyers professional whatever board,
Yeah.
and all they came out with was an indictment. Like, these are their people of their peers. I don't feel like they should be the ones that are in charge of punishing these people, because it gets us nowhere and it's not solving any problems. They're like their peers.
Sorry, I haven't met Brooke, but I heard that, and in my case, I actually had a private attorney for my appeal, and the appellate court. I don't know how this happened, because I've been told by many other lawyers, because I've interviewed all of them in Florida, but they came in and they removed my private attorney from my appellate case, like a year after we've been in the process for a long time, and they said he what was it, Darren? He didn't do something correct in the paperwork. It was something very
it was something very stupid, very
and so then they gave me, without my asking me, they assigned a public defender or someone who works for the state. I don't even know if he was let's just stop.
Can't do that.
They're out.
My third case, I didn't hire my public defender either. He just showed up there and he was there, and I fired him 3 times during the case, on record. And that could not get him to get off my case. They were handling my case that way.
Well, in better terms, the new caseworker was served today. She signed for her violation warning under color of law. The court received their violation of under color of law, and they received my dismissal. And my attorney said to me today that tomorrow we will talk about it, because he did see it and he said it is one hell of a dismissal.
Good job, then. Karen, you're absolutely right. Sean McMillan is what I was thinking of.
Yep, that's absolutely it. That's what I thought it was. That's the same guy. He has a bunch of stuff on YouTube, actually.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's a really good dude.
Is that Caps and Stems?
Pardon me?
No, I like that guy too. No, this is a different guy. That guy I like too.
Okay. Yeah.
Who's the guy up in Josie's Next to the Wood that I like to listen to? What's his name? The guy that I'm trying to get on the show with us for Josie Mondays.
You should get Dwight Mitchell.
Who is it?
You should get Dwight Mitchell. He's out of Minneapolis. He won his case.
Oh, I'll have to check into him. That's what I want. I want people on the show that are winning. I want,
YouTube, he's got his own series, and it's damn good. Damn good.
Okay. Dwight Mitchell is his name?
Dwight Mitchell, yeah. He talks about how the first 60 days you don't have to do nothing. He's like, you do not help them incriminate you. You don't talk to them. You don't help them. It is their job to prove their allegations. You don't have to prove you're innocent.
Right.
It's their job to prove that you have done this stuff. So you don't help incriminate them. You don't help them investigate. You don't help them nothing.
Right. Now that time frame though is different in different states.
It might be. Yep. I'm talking Minnesota.
Here.
According to their policies, they have 40 days here.
Yeah.
Okay. Where you at?
So it depends what state you're in. You should be reading policy procedures and your rules of court, laws, all of that you have to stay up on to do it.
I'm going to play a little bit of this Sean McMillan right here. Hold on a second, guys.
McMillan watching. Sean McMillan is a California civil rights attorney that fights CPS and wins. Sean has been fighting for years on behalf of parents who have had their children wrongfully removed, and also on behalf of foster children who have been abused, raped, molested, murdered in state care. And we are just so fortunate to have him fighting on our side inside the courtroom, and also here sharing his time, giving his advice, and just also talking about his journey. Sean, thank you so much for coming on. Before we get started, actually, I want to remind everyone that we are live, okay? So I would really like everyone to please like and share this video. And also, if you can, throw down some comments and throw down some questions. I'm going to bring your comments on on screen while we're talking. Sean, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us.
Good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you opening up your group and your forum.
Wow. Well, Sean, I just wanted to start off by telling you probably a lot of things that might make you blush, but they're really, it's in all honesty. I mean, you've been around since even before I started in this activism, and you were one of the people that I always looked up to when there was what I like to call my darkest hours, even though it's cliche. You were someone that always stood up for parents. And it was people like you where we can say, I mean, hey, listen, there were things that went wrong in my case. There were things that people didn't believe me when I said that there was misconduct in my case. There was lying in my case. And when no one else believed me, I pointed to you and your right to lie case. I pointed to you and your track record. And when parents that were in my group had their children in state care that were being molested and raped and abused and no one believed them, I pointed to your work. And I know that your work has also been used in on legislation. I know when they were fighting for the Family First Prevention Act, they brought the right to lie case, which helped to really give evidence and basis for all of that. I just want to let you know, thank you. I know you don't like to hear it. You're a humble guy. You're hardworking, but I just wanted to put it out there that it means a lot to me personally, not just that you do this work, but that you do it well. So can I just start out by asking you how you even ended up falling into this line of work?
That's a long story. You only have an hour, right?
Okay, so how about the short version?
All right. When I first got into the practice of law, I came out of the computer business. I've been in the computer business with my family for about 15 years. We had a significant operation going on. We had offices in Hong Kong, Guadalajara, 4 or 5 retail stores here in the U.S. We distributed we made money distributing computer equipment all over South Central America and here in the United States. Sold to some of the bigger names that people may still recognize. I think like Dell is still around. K-Pro bankrupted. Gateway, we originally sold some of the base equipment to them before everybody went direct. But in around 95 or so, there was a transition happening in the marketplace. So my brother and I started going to law school at night, little podunk, unaccredited law school, great place, by the way. We learned a lot. And by the time we were finished, we took the bar, passed this first shot, and closed the computer business down. It was all kind of imploding with the whole .com bust, and reopened within weeks as a law office. Since all of my experience was in business, that was what I focused on. And I built a practice in the first 7 years or so from zero to where I was doing as a solo practitioner about $800,000 to $900,000 a year in hourly paid collected work. For a solo back in 2007, that was really good money. So I was making money. I was doing stuff that I liked. It was great. And I developed this interest in doing trial work. So I started doing trials for other small offices, other solo practitioners, and I discovered that I liked that more than the grinding drudgery of litigation. And I had one client who I tried a couple cases for, and she came back to me with this civil rights case up in Orange County. This was in actually like May 2005 is when she approached me with it. And I was on that just sounds like a shit case. I'm not going to do that. And so I rejected it. That was the Fogarty case, Fogarty Hardwick versus County of Orange. The lady, Deanna, she ended up calling me directly, and I told her, again, no. I already talked to the attorney that's the referring attorney, and no, I'm just not going to do that work. That's not the type of work I do. So she was very persistent. Somehow, I have no idea how she got a hold of my dad, but she called my dad one night, and I guess she was running up against the deadline because the judge had given her a very limited period of time to find an attorney to pick up her case after it had come back on an appeal. She won the appeal, and her attorney quit, just abandoned her. And then she got passed around from one family law attorney to the next until she got to my referring attorney. But anyway, she got a hold of my dad at night. And I remember this. Somehow, I don't know, she convinced him to convince me. And we have a very tight family. My relationship with my dad's pretty strong. And typically when I was a little kid, if I didn't do what he said, I got a belting. And then as an adult, that kind of carried through. So typically when he tells me to do something, even now at 56 years old, he's in his 80s. If he says you should do something, I'll probably do it. I'll consider it, but I'll probably do it. So anyway, I get this call. I'm in the shower. I remember this. I'm washing my hair. It's all sudsy. I get this call. My wife comes running in, says, "It's your dad. It's an emergency." I was like, "Oh shit." Because I'm thinking, my brother, he's hurt. My mom, something bad is happening. So I get out of the shower and my dad says, "Hey, this lady called me. She's got this deadline. You need to take her case." So fuck. I just rejected that. "What are you doing?" He's like, "No, you take her case. It's real." So, okay, fine. So that was in 2005. And, I worked on that case for, I think it was like 2.5 years before we got it to trial. It was a 5-week jury trial, and I did not believe her. I thought the whole thing was bullshit, but my dad, told me to do this. So if I'm going to get into a trial, back then I was a gunslinger, right? I just have my target. I have my job. I'm going to do the best I can, whether I believe it or not. So I did a very, very conservative workup for our case in chief. And by conservative workup, I didn't make any outlandish claims that I couldn't solidly prove with the other side's evidence. That was it. And that was thin. It was thin as fuck. We made it through the non-suit, and I rested. And I felt pretty good about it. So, okay, well, this is a kind of a crap case. I think it's all BS. Don't really believe the client. But hey, this is solid. We made it through. Then the defendants started putting on their case. And it was in the cross-examination of the social workers that I realized that it was like a total betrayal. I had not, one of the fundamental tenets, at least on the civil side, like criminal, it's a little bit different. But on the civil side, your primary duties to your client, these are injured people. Whatever you perceive the reality to be, you really need to consider where they're coming from, and probably that they are telling you the truth and being honest with you. And so I had like this really, really, I don't even know how to describe it, like this deep sense of betrayal. And I don't know, it just changed my view of everything, of her, of her case, of the way I had interacted with her, of the job that I had done going into the case. It just questioned everything. And we ended up getting a really good verdict out of that. The county took it up on appeal. They lost on appeal. They took it to the California Supreme Court. They lost there. And then they did what's called a petition for writ of certiorari to the U.S. Supreme Court. And the U.S. Supreme Court ordered me to brief an opposition. I was like, oh, fuck. Because, normally they just do a postcard denial, but they meet in conference. And if some judge or justice had a question, then they may ask you to brief an opposition, and, a higher percentage of those get accepted. And generally, if they accept it, it means you're going to fucking lose. You're going to reverse whatever the lower courts did. So that was a real butt puckering time. And, we briefed it and we won. They rejected it. So that was good. And that was in April 2011. So I'd been in the case. I started in like May, maybe a little earlier.
All right. Well, regardless, that's him. That's this guy. He's on in a half hour. We're going to try to get him on the show with us. Let's see if we can get him in here asking some questions. We try him. Yeah, the other guy was Rumpel. That's a really good. If you guys look that up on YouTube too, it's a really good interview with him. And he talks a little bit more of how he fell into it, and he realized that people that are in CPS cases, they're not liars. They're not lying about their cases. They're not making this stuff up. The lies, all of us sitting there crying, and we're not really crying and begging about, the caseworker lied. They're getting away with this stuff all the time. Getting someone to fight for you and to stand up for you is like worse than pulling teeth. No one wants to, like you saying, they don't want to believe you. They think you're full of shit. Half of us don't have any money. And so this is what you get. We need to get more lawyers out there that realize that the fight for us is real. And I think instead of taking this money down the Title IV pipe, like Ross always says, let's put some money in the pockets where they should be. Let's put some real lawyers into these, put some of that money into the families themselves, into the lawyers themselves, to come out and really defend these people, opposed to just, the guy that's getting his name pulled out of the crapshoot. Like that's something that could be spoken about. Maybe the Title IV funds go to that. Like just some things along those lines. Because Roz is absolutely right. They don't want to hear us bitch and complain. They want to hear what is going to change it so that we save money. That's all they care about is money.
Yeah.
So for us to beat this,
legislature does.
Mhm.
Well, that's everything. Yeah, that's life. That's people will not listen to anything that they don't understand as reality in their own minds already. So if you go against something that they inherently know, or the fundamental truth, they won't listen to it. They don't have time for it, but they won't listen to it anyway because it's, we've been shamed. So I think that's right. Solution.
Yeah, we need to.
Now, we have on November's ballot the a tax levy that funds children's services. However, it also funds elderly care and so
all the same funds.
All the same fund, which I'm trying to get them to separate them.
Yeah.
So that
the kitty.
we don't stop. We have something called Passport, which has home health aides going into homes. We don't want to stop that for the elderly, but they have it in the same levy as children's services, where we have to get it so that they understand how much money is being wasted in children's services.
Yeah, I mean, it is public knowledge, though, right? I mean, but people don't really, I guess, look at that. We just trust. I blindly trust.
Especially where they're paying these caseworkers to do their jobs, and they're not even doing their jobs. They're allowing the AI to do their damn jobs. So what's the point of having caseworkers if the AI is doing their job?
The AI is probably more fair anyway than the police.
Well, they've got their reports. It doesn't get them out to the houses like they're supposed to be, checking on the kids like they're supposed to be. The young lady on the bottom here, you said you're from Florida?
Yes. Mandy. Yep.
Did you know about the case where Cleveland and Florida collided? The young girl's name was Wilson. And her caseworker, her mother, natural mother, was here in Cleveland. She was and went into custody. The last name was Williams. This is several years ago. And or Wilson rather, the caseworker kept going out and saying that she was reporting, or kept saying she was going out and this child was fine. Here to find out, somebody had picked up that child years earlier and a caseworker had not been in the house for years. The result of that was Florida's law that says if a caseworker falsifies documents, she can be criminally sued.
Nice.
Yeah, and I love when I get my hopes up big time when I hear that kind of stuff. I got my hopes up when they signed in a we're supposedly the leader in parental rights in Florida, and that's such a beautiful concept and idea. Unfortunately, when it comes, theory and practice are two different things, because everything is subjective, and people do err on the side of caution, and they err on the side of believing the someone who has not been trashed, their reputation has not been smashed into the mud. So it's challenge. It is such a challenge because they take a beautiful woman and a loving mother and well, anyway, that just happens to happen that they that someone kind of loses a sense of who they are. And so when comparing the case, it's like he said, she said, and that versus that, like every statute that we have, it becomes a subjective slaughter. I mean, it's just
That is why you do not speak to caseworkers even after the investigation, unless you're recording, and you try to get everything in emails and texts. So you have proof. And to what Darren said earlier about them following children, following on Facebook, you better have it on private.
Yep. Well, that's where I wanted to get to this conversation, right? Was to the social media thing.
Have your all of your social media on private.
Right.
So
Password. Right. Right, because they are. I mean, they are actually. People are going out and looking at these social media things. There's two things that they're doing. One, they're either hunting for the child that they want, which that's a real thing, and two, the caseworkers are looking to. They've got you wrapped up in the case. They got you somehow, but they're waiting for you to put those pictures up at the barbecue where you and dad are or you and mom are having a couple beers and the kids out on the boat and yada yada yada. And you guys are just out having fun. And here comes that caseworker on Monday and says, "Bang, we got you right here. We got you the pictures of you guys. You're out on the lake. You're doing this stuff. Here's your stuff. There's your imminent danger. Give us your kid. We're gone."
Well, like Herbert says, quit doing things that's going to get your attention. If you have your kid on a boat or near the water, you better have on a life jacket.
Right.
Well, they really do put that fear of God into you to where, I mean, for me, I'm kind of a rule follower, and I wouldn't do anything. But that's where the crux of it is and where it comes in, Ross, because I would love to talk to you about this. Maybe mine is an odd case. I don't know, but I don't think so. I just they didn't adhere to rules. If I can show you in my paperwork so much fraud and so many things that are not true, and even in my trial transcript. So it's pretty devastating. But again, solution is where we need to focus. So what do we do?
Here's the thing. All of us here have the same argument, and even probably Roz with your grandkid, right? Like all of us are sitting here saying that they've lied. There's stories that they're telling. There's this. There's fraud. There's all of this. So, and if there's 6 out of 6 here that have this, that means that there's got to be 1 million out of 1 million out there. So why are these things not fixed? How has no one come up with a solution for this? And if they have, why does it still like there can't be this much?
I think that's real easy. Why aren't we getting any? And I wrote a paper on it even. Why are we not getting reform? It's because we are not going together with solutions. If you get one person calling their state rep, screaming at you, and I mean screaming, that their children have been taken by children's services, they've been kidnapped, that these are all trigger words that are going to shut them down.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're correct. They stole my kids. They're going to
actually
that's going to just shut you down, turn you off. That's it. Okay. Now you come to them and you say, "Hey, I found something that you might be interested in. I know where the state can save $200 million a year." You do? What did you find? Well, I found that they're pulling children out of the home when they don't really need to. They can be the family can be rehabbed in home. And if the children do need to be pulled out, they're being kept out too long. They pull the kids on ex parte communication, but they don't return them that way. They always wait to the end of the 6-month period, which then costs the state foster money for every one of those months. They're doing cookie cutter plans that they're making parents
federal, though, aren't they?
To do, and that costs money. If we trim this all down, we can save all kinds of money.
Yeah. And they can invest that money in the roads that aren't being repaired in Maine.
Right, and advertising these.
But aren't they getting kickback from federal? Like our states are
getting
kickback from federal, so they don't really care how much money they're spending because they're getting it back.
Oh, no, dear. They're not getting 100% kickback or more. No, they are not. They are getting a percentage.
Well, I argued about this and she won.
In Ohio, it's 52%. Whatever it is on Medicaid, they're also getting that. So the state, or in my state, the county, is spending $100, and they're getting 52 back from the feds.
That's now with private and
That's not making profit. Where the profits are being made, and here again you go to the legislature and get it taken care of, is when they contract with the people outside, the parenting classes, the psychologists, the foster care agencies, they're overpaying those.
Yeah, they're getting kickbacks from that, and that's where they're getting their money.
That's right. It's those entities.
Penny, pull the state budget and prove that to me, please.
I don't know what your name is, but here in Canada, when you said that we should go to our state legislator, I guess that's your mayor or your political.
No, governor.
State governor or something like that. Like, we don't have that in Canada, though. But like we have like a minister or like the mayor of a city or something. Like every woman basically that I know have pretty much all went and told everybody they could. Okay? Nobody cares. Everybody knows and they won't.
But what are they telling them?
Pardon?
What are they telling them?
They're saying they can't do anything because it's CPS. They had this arrangement, and everybody knows they're making money, and they can't do anything because it's CPS. They have an agreement, just like the cops, just like everybody, to not to do anything because it's CPS, because they rule the world and they're never held accountable.
Okay, I just pulled it up.
You said one person, okay, Benny goes to his state rep, ain't going to do any good, okay? Because he's one person. So as far as they know, because they can't look, you can't look at, one person does nothing.
I went to the city hall. I went to the city hall. I talked to all the city halls.
Okay.
And I had 40,000 people watch my video, and they still did nothing.
Okay, and here's the thing. Does your mayor control CPS?
No, the government does.
What part of the government? Your Providence?
The provincial government does.
Okay, then you don't go to your mayor.
I did.
You don't go to the mechanic. You got a plumbing problem.
I went everywhere. I went everywhere.
Josie has been a one-woman track of destruction. She's done everything documented on TikTok. She's gone to school board meetings. She's gone to the mayor's office. She's gone to the president's office. She's gone everywhere that she could possibly fight this fight, and no one is listening for it. It's all documented on TikTok.
You have to fight it exactly where it's needed. Okay?
So
I'm trying to find
one. Unless you're talking about the fact that your mandated reporters are not following the law, then going to the school board is Yorkie. Yap, Yorkie. We need Pitbull. And Pitbull is coming with facts, figures, and where the law can be changed and how.
There's a whiteboard that things with it.
What about this? So everybody, this is a group of some people who have experienced it and have the know, and it sounds to me like we all agree that we have to be solution focused. What if we tried a completely different attempt? Because we have been trashed. Our reputations. Maybe that's my ego. Maybe that's me saying, embarrassed by this. That people, when they think of us as less than. If we were to approach from a different way, if we took our reputations back or took ourselves back within, the public, using social media, using whatever it is, so that we come in with respect again. Maybe they could hear us from a different point of view. It doesn't seem to make a difference with polls. It doesn't seem to make a difference with these mobs of people. It seems to me that they're looked down, frowned upon. What can we do outside the box?
Number one, you don't go wearing CPS stole my kids t-shirts.
Right.
Okay? Don't do that. Abolish CPS t-shirts are not allowed when you're going to the State House. I'm sorry, Darren. Okay?
I know, right?
Immediately to shut you down. Don't wear that in the State House.
Right.
Wear that around the house. But do not wear it. Do not. Okay? All right, you're going to go with a collared shirt, guys, and at least a pair of khakis. Okay?
Yeah.
You're going to go in dress, not jeans, dress pants, and a nice blouse. Okay? You're not going to have people outside with signs. You're not going to do that. You say what happened? I was outside with signs in one county. Okay? Now, I had a friend who was an attorney. He took a CPS case in another county. I went over there as his paralegal. I walked in and here one of the magistrates from the first county was now CPS's attorney in this county. She took one look at me, remembered me, and I got kicked out. You don't do it. We have had so many.
So I pulled that up, by the way.
Yeah, what'd you get? What do you got?
It says for Maine DHHS, the governor is proposing funding of $638 million and $316 million general funds for financial year 2024 and 2025. This would be partially offset by $59 million in one-time deprappropriating the lapse of prior year carrying balance. The supplement budget for financial year 2023 is proposing an additional $55 million to $17 million GF, which will be offset by lapsing carrying balance.
Yeah.
So that's what she's saying.
Okay, they're carrying money left over from last year.
They're taking all of it and still
They're
we owe them more.
left over.
Yep.
We have money left over.
And they make sure.
Yeah.
It's
I'll tell you what. I looked up Brooks Place and I looked up Minnesota right here, and I don't know what the numbers are, but it says here the next highest program area is child, family, and foster care at 58,536,281. Then information and referral at 20 million. Family assessment.
She's so wrong. She's
17
saying a
million.
bunch of things that I did already.
Yeah. But what I'm saying
We
is
hear you, Brooke. I think that's Brooke. We can hear you.
yeah, it's Brooke, right, Brooke?
What?
I can't see her.
Right here.
Did you know? All right, so Minnesota is the second highest state after Ohio that is most heavily funded by the country. Federal funding comes to countries via the state. Programs are administered on the county level. The state itself provides at least.
Right, of 80 different CPS agencies.
Okay, so wait a minute. The state doesn't. In these states, the states don't even provide the money. It's the counties that provide the money.
In my case, and 12 other states, it's called a county administered state oversight function. And our money basically comes from local. That's what I was talking about going through. Here.
Okay.
Okay. It's not state funded. It's county.
Oh.
right? That's what this says too. That there's an awful lot of
And the thing that's nice, right? And there's also another thing called the waiver way of doing it within the counties. And this is, they get the same amount this year that they had last year, okay, based on the kids they had last year. And the counties that have that have fewer kids taken, have better services, because they're not doing it by child, okay? Every child from that county, when they're removed from the home, they're in with a counselor within 7 days. Of course, they'll have the physical. There is a counselor in 7 days. Every foster home that they're in has a computer for their homework. They have tutoring available for the kids. And they don't do cookie cutter case plans.
They don't do that in Maine.
Less money.
I'd love to. I was a counselor here in Florida for the neighboring county program, which was it's a sister of Jacksonville. I'm in Jacksonville, and it was Nassau County, and I've seen a lot of good recovery. I'm a part of it, you know, but I have not in the court system. I've not seen it. I've seen a lot of bitter women building upon their anger, you know, their bitter, and not giving people shots. You know, it's a broken system. But so I would love to see them go in and individually write a case plan or write let them be a part of it and all of that. That sounds fantastic. If that's
it's federal law that the parents are supposed to be involved.
Right, supposed to, right? But I've not witnessed it. It was funny because
in my case,
it's so.
I didn't sign a case plan. I didn't agree that I needed services, which I didn't. They were just after my child. I had 2 cases before my last one that took my rights, and I didn't sign no case plan. I didn't contract with them because I was doing the best I ever was in my life. I had just gotten a home mortgage. I just got my dream job. I had gotten my son in daycare. Like, I was doing fantastic, the best I'd ever been doing in my life. I did not need services. They were trying to force them upon me and force me to contract with them.
Too.
So I didn't sign shit.
They tried to do the same thing with me, Brooke, so I understand that.
Oh, they did with me too, and they somehow got me into. I won't even go into it, but yeah, it seems to be universal the way that it's handled. And though on paper it looks good, in reality something needs to change, and that's where we need to come in and talk about.
We've been successful in cases. We answer the case plan with our own case plan.
The judge should be able to rubber stamp the ETC case.
We submit to the court a suggested case plan. And in our case plan, it gets kids home earlier. It even goes down to the step up to get them home. Whatever. Usually, if I can get a case for 3 days, it's great. But by the time I get it, it's usually past adjudication, and they've already got, the case plans, the caseworkers already put out a case plan, and they're planning on keeping the kids. If I can get in at that state, then I help the parent write the case plan. That is.
What is the time frame from when they keep a kid and then they decide that they're going to keep it? Like, what is that span of time that you think is the crucial time? Like, how
in
much
Maine, it's a year.
First 60 days.
Well, no, yeah, right. That's what I'm talking. Not what they say. Yeah, is that what it is? 69 days.
Adjudication has to be done within 90 days.
Is that the same for every state?
They haven't done it here. It's over 120 days.
And that, to me, is a dismissal.
Great.
I would like to talk to you, Roz. I'm coming on. I'm being selfish right now, but I really would.
I put my number in the private chat for you.
What's that?
Yes,
I'll get it from Trevor. That'd be great.
Where the hell is Trevor? Trevor, are you here?
You wrote to him in the private chat. What, Brooke, was it you that was writing in the private
Herbert's
chat?
still here. Herbert's here.
or no, someone, are you this Brooke that's in the chat about writing about Dwight Mitchell?
Yeah,
Mitchell?
I see the link didn't
Herbert's
the
here.
link didn't show.
You've seen him recently?
Recently,
Mitchell.
no, I'm not sure. I haven't really
I
checked in on
think
him,
he's
but
MIA. He's gone.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, I saw Dwight Mitchell. I think it's Mitchum, but he
Mitchell.
was inspirational for me. We have a very similar case, except the ending. But
he's so smart. Like, he had enough
Yeah.
money to hire his own attorney, and his own attorney wasn't doing what he wanted, so he fired him, and he ended up getting his kids back himself. He went through court. His,
Yeah, I
his
know.
series on YouTube is so good. Like, he's so
It's
smart.
good. It's good.
Yeah.
You know, I did the same thing where I hired lawyers, and but that's a whole other story. But yeah, he's really great. He's sued the federal government, and
Yep.
he's had some success, but I haven't heard from him in
He
some
has,
time.
Is it Family Preservation Group or whatever?
Family Preservation Foundation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Roz, he's almost. I mean, he doesn't know as much as you probably, but he knows. He's pretty
Very
respected,
Well, I mean,
and Dan
he
knows
went
him
after
too.
CPS
We haven't
as well.
heard from him.
others.
Yeah,
So-
a lot.
So, since Darren doesn't know, but Roz does, I will share with everyone. Today, the missus over here, who's playing a game, fired her attorney for lack of communication over 3 weeks of nothing.
Congratulations. That's good. I never had the until it was
And
private.
he got back to her in 16 minutes flat.
Probably the fastest you ever heard from him.
Prize there, right?
Says
Fastest
it
you
all.
ever heard.
doesn't it? Says it all.
Yep.
Says it all.
I'm going to have a reference for you. I've got to rack my
I'm
brain.
just-
For some reason, I'm having a brain freeze.
I'm just so glad that, I think I'm finally starting to get my criminal attorney on my side.
Good.
Well,
Now he's seeing what I'm seeing.
Good.
Oh, good. Wow, that's great. And you know what? The fact that you do have a criminal case does give you so much more room to grow and actually get somewhere.
As long as he can get it through quick.
Yep.
The problem is they'll take these criminal cases and they'll drag them out over the 2 years that you have for the CPS case.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah.
The 2-year mark. So you have to get that criminal case moving.
And that's why he said that he's kind of regretting not filing the dismissal. But now that I filed it and I had it notarized as an official document, that's a different story.
Well, cross your fingers, my brother, and pray to God that
You
they
might
take
be
it.
That's great.
And if that
Congratulations.
doesn't work on the criminal, if that doesn't work, I remembered an expert today, basically because I heard Florida, and that's where he lives, that does it mostly for custody cases, but he has done CPS cases on false sexual abuse cases.
Oh, good.
And one other thing is, if you can find an expert to look at that CAC tape, because I'm not an expert and I can see the girls lying.
That's for your case.
I think we all can.
Make
at it.
sure there's no association with
Yeah,
CPS
yeah, Roz
when
is-
you go to find
Roz
an
is-
expert.
Roz
Yeah.
has been previous
that's so
to the CAC video on my case.
Yeah.
Brooke, what are you saying? You're making sure that the advocate's not in line with CPS?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I've kind of looked into that because they do align with CPS and they have conversations with CPS back and forth.
It's
funded.
cheaper than that.
And there again,
That's what I'm trying to find out, if they're funded by CPS.
Because I just
No,
found
they're
out that the hospital my son was being
they're
sent
usually
by,
funded by rape crisis centers.
they have contracts
Which is
with
all
Avera.
related.
The hospital has contracts with who your son was?
No.
My hospital has contracts with my human services, and my case was crazy. Broke my son. They put my son in a body cast. broke
Of course
his
they
hip
did.
and
They
everything.
take Medicaid.
What?
Yep.
They take
But yeah,
Medicaid.
they
Of course they're contract.
yeah.
They have to
Right.
be.
I
That's
had
why
went
they
in towards the end of the case and asked for my son's records because they weren't telling me anything that was going on. They just broke my son's body and put him in a body cast. They weren't allowing me to see him, and the hospital told me that I couldn't have access to his records, even though my rights weren't terminated yet. I'm going to end up getting them in trouble too.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of that child main care, or like here it's main care, but you gotta get rid of
When
that
they
and get
take
your own
them,
private
when they
insurance.
take them,
No, they'll take when they take the
when
kids.
they take them,
Yeah.
they put them
Now
on.
remember,
Yep.
I take it it's
So there's
Brooke who's
no.
talking.
Yep.
See.
Yeah,
Um,
conversation is driving me
you
nuts. It's so
you
upsetting.
can't have somebody else's kids' records. If they take your child and they take custody of your child, that severs your right to the records. What you have to do to get it back is in the case plan, it should say that you have a right to know the medical of your child. When your
I
caseworker
did.
does not provide you that, you go back and you get a contempt of court against your caseworker.
If it doesn't say it, or if it, I mean, we didn't have anything on. We did. Our
Well,
actual plan was blank. It was
If
blank.
Roz,
you're not terminated, you have a right to know what's going on with your child. They are to report to you what's going on with your child, and if they do not, you file a contempt. You go back to the court. You go around them.
hey Roz, can
Yeah.
you email me how to set that up, because that's what's happening here, and so I want to go after the caseworker for it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, you could do conflict of interest too. I wasn't allowed to
Then
file
they.
a conflict of interest. I'm going to start going into my stuff, and I'm not going to do that. But it's hard to hear it all again. And
Conflict of interest is very hard to prove. And just the
I,
fact that them walking down the sidewalk together to lunch is not going to do it.
you know,
You've
it's
got
How
funny
about if
too.
they're related?
there's
How
a
about if
lot
they're
of proof.
related?
family related, I would say, would be a conflict.
Yeah, or
The
like
supervisor
became a
would
part
not
of your.
change the social worker. She was related to my daughter's husband or my daughter's dad. Oops.
There's case law on that too.
That's pure conflict.
Josie knows all about that stuff, don't you, Josie? Being related to the people in your case.
That's a conflict here in the U.S. That's no. And
Yeah,
again, if you don't get what you want from Children's Services, go to the court. And here's why. You're wanted on the court record. A denial is as good as a granted because it's on the court record. You
yeah.
That's why I filed my motion to dismiss on the record.
That's good. We weren't allowed to file. For some reason here in Florida, if you have an attorney, you are not allowed to file anything.
I think it's the same way in Minnesota.
I'm going to put my email in the private chat here because that's all I can write.
I'm gonna let Lynn just found something. I'm gonna let her read this to you.
Okay.
Maine Network for Children's Advocacy Centers is a child-focused facility-based program where professionals work together to interview children who have disclosed sexual abuse. Law enforcement, child protective services, and the district attorney's office are the only ones who can make referrals to the CAC. While parents, caregivers, or other professionals cannot make referrals to the CAC, they should make a mandated report to the Maine Child Abuse Hotline.
Okay. So where do you get that they're connected other than they do the review?
Sounds
Because
like they're
they're
getting kickback.
Why is set up? That interview that's done there is then given to the law enforcement and so forth so that the child doesn't have to go through multiple detailed facts for the child's well-being. that will then go over to law enforcement. Law enforcement refers, okay? Children's Services refers to them because they are the professionals. The caseworker is not. A police officer may not be.
Why can't a
Well,
parent make a referral though? I don't understand.
there's
You can be a mandated reporter and be a parent. Anyone can be a mandated reporter, or you can report.
Right. Why can't they report?
Get this. Here in Ohio, police are not mandated reporters. They kind of forgot it, and we're working on changing that. But
Wow.
I say make a mandated reporter.
To a counselor.
We don't. I mean, I think that if we're talking about abolishing this entity, this thing, I don't think that we should leverage police officers with more ignorant power. It just sounds. I don't know. I do. I
agree. I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
As a teacher, I'm encouraged to call on parents. If I had known what was going on, I never would have. It's so tragic.
Yeah, and teachers are not properly trained in it.
No, neither are police officers, and I know this because I worked in health. They're training, and they're not.
The thing is, with all of these mandated reporters, if they know something is wrong, they should be referring to CDC, not doing it themselves. Okay?
Yeah, probably. That makes sense. That's what they should be directed to do.
The mandated reporter does. The mandated reporter just reports there's a problem. But the mandated reporters need proper training so that they don't ask the little boy, does your father beat you? Send out Children's Services when the little boy was talking about a board game.
In
Okay?
Florida, the law is, or the rule of thumb, or the rule of game is, we're all mandated reporters. It is our responsibility if we suspect anything to call, and that it's gotten happy, it's gotten friendly, little too comfortable on the fingers, to dial that number.
I have a big problem, and that is with the churches and the clergy. Now, I do carry reverend, okay? I'm a licensed minister. However, this should be being handled by the church, not by the government. Because I'm going to preach, when the Good Samaritan found the Jew, who's a hated enemy, in the gutter, all bloody and beaten, did he go call a Roman soldier? No. He picked the guy up, he took him to the nearest inn, he paid in advance for his keep, and said, when I come back, I'll make sure we're even. When you know, in your friend group, in your church, in your club, that there's a family in crisis, you should be going to that family in crisis and seeing what you can do. I know a church that did this. The pastor took the child in while the mother was in drug rehab.
And I kind of agree with you there, Ross, because when we were PFA'd out of here with really nowhere to go, and we tried to reach out to DHHS for help, even if it was a hotel, they would not help us.
Right. Yeah, and that's ridiculous. This is why I say I don't care if you're religious or not. Get into some kind of group where you have support.
You know what? That is so spot on. I think that, and I was in such a crisis. I was going through postpartum big time, and the pandemic started at the same time. I couldn't do what I knew to do. And when you're crying out for help, you're so right. And that is key. I think it's everything. Is to turn to a support service
that are down and out on their luck.
Not even when we push programs on people, I never would have gotten sober if I was told I had to go, and so that was my blessing. But the way this program is done, it's not conducive to lasting sobriety. But
no, it's not.
This is a
No.
whole nother. This is a whole nother topic.
The,
This one.
the, o-
It's
the
a
only
whole other thesis, and
Way over, and we get this
Yep.
one. I'm writing into my book right here that this topic for tomorrow, almost right now.
yes,
Make
yes.
sure I'm on that show. I got lots
Yeah,
of
Okay.
info on
we'll
that.
be back
Lots
tomorrow.
of
I
info
mean,
on
might
that
as well
stuff.
carry it. Hey Herbert,
Yeah.
we've been quiet all night, buddy. It's about to be last words time, but I figured that you would have been right on this topic with your crusade to, stopping CPS, before they get to the house. Herbert?
I have
Oh,
my
yeah.
camera off because my phone's
There's
overheating, so
There's Herbert. Where are you, Herbert?
that's why my camera's
Sorry I
off.
cut out on you guys.
Herbert is here. I never left.
Well, someone kicked you. Someone moved you. So, yeah, we're about at the last words point. That must be why Josie didn't say anything either. But we're at the last words point. But you must have some input on this, Herbert, on this whole, getting prepared for CPS to come to the house. This whole topic, social media, all this stuff. But anyway, we're at last words. What do you got, Herbert?
Yeah, my only last words is to just keep up the fight, keep up what you're doing. I've been listening to everything. I never left. I listened to everything, and I have no input except for you guys have to just keep up the fight with your attorneys against the courts and against CPS.
Thanks,
Good. Josie, how about you, ma'am? Oh no. Josie. No, we'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Andy, what do we got for you for last words?
Did you say Mandy?
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Our solution. It's the only way we're gonna get them back.
Yeah, no worries. That's a pretty lame one, but good. Brooke, how about you for last words?
Me?
That's you.
Okay.
We gotta feedback.
Never
here
let a
somewhere.
CPS worker in your house. Unless they have a warrant, or a cop. Even if your rights have been terminated, keep on fighting for them, because kids, you are all you got. Even if you aren't in their lives at the moment, nobody's gonna love them kids like you can, as their biological parent. If you were wronged, and you keep on fighting, no matter what.
That's right. That's good stuff. That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's what
That
I'm
is
talking about.
Yeah.
Roz?
I always fight to win, but plan to lose. So everything is on the record. You plan for that appeal from day one. Remember to love your kids more than you hate your caseworker. And
Good.
and don't be public on your social media.
That's right. Be careful with that stuff. Nate, how about you, my man?
Well, I would say to all those parents still fighting, keep fighting. Don't give up hope. And don't give up on what you need to do in your focus, because after today was a good day for me. I got my big chest kind of lifted a little bit because I was hired at my new job.
Oh, congrats.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
All right.
Awesome.
Hey,
That's awesome.
everyone. Josie wanted me to say, just like I said, for her words, make sure that you remember that you do have family out there that isn't involved with this. So make sure that you guys pay attention to them as well, because despite when you're in this fight, you don't realize how many people you actually abandon yourself.
Yeah.
So make sure you pay attention to them. So then there's that, and then I guess for me, It's going to be, what we're doing here is we're building a troop, we're building an army, and we're just proving to you that people can come from all aspects of the world to form a group and get along and make one message be heard. And that's what we're doing here. And if we can do it here, then it can be done anywhere. So keep your heads up, keep fighting the good fight. Don't let CPS get your kids. I'm the CPS Punisher, and I'm out of here.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
They was taken with lies. CPS tell the stories trying to ruin our lives.
If oral argument is had, they'll set a date.
Davis, really?
If it's not,
That
they'll just
ironic.
Can you imagine that? There we go. Let's try that again. All right. I love you, Vince.
They was taken with lies. CPS tell the stories trying to ruin our lives. My kid was kidnapped. It was all for the cash, a foster kid, child ring. Man, I swear it's all bad. My kid was kidnapped. It was all for the cash. My kid was kidnapped. It was all for the cash. My kid was kidnapped. They was taken with lies.
It started with the way I looked, progressed to how I carried it. They couldn't stand a man like me, could understand what marriage is. Providing for my wife and kids the way that I inherited. Mama raised a man that don't know nothing but take care of the kids. How can they just come and take what's mine and I ain't caught a case? Never had with CPS, but still my rights were stripped away. Fighting for my right to parent cause I got tats upon my face. See through all your blatant lies, I be the one y'all love to hate. It's wrong what y'all out here doing, lying, taking people's kids. Breaking up a happy home cause y'all don't like the way we live. Long as we providing no abuse, then y'all should mind your business. Stop messing with my right to live. You're breaking laws, release my kids. Tired, I can take it, this is real and I'ma bear it all. Lawyers, they appointed me, never even took my calls. They falsified my drug screens, flat out lied and that ain't all. This whole case a cover up and they ain't gotta follow laws. Kidnapped.
They was taken with lies. CPS telling stories trying to ruin our lives. My kids was kidnapped. It was all for the cash, a foster kid, child rape. Man, I swear it's all bad. My kids was kidnapped. They was taken with lies. CPS telling stories trying to ruin our lives. My kids was kidnapped. It was all for the cash, a foster kid, child rape. Man, I swear it's all bad. My kids was kidnapped. They was taken with lies. CPS telling stories trying to ruin our lives. My kids was kidnapped. It was all for the cash, a foster kid, child rape. Man, I swear it's all bad. My kids was
Reaching out for
kidnapped.
help, come on tell me, do y'all feel my pain? Watch my wife cry herself to sleep and I can do a thing. On the verge of losing it, swear I'm about to go insane. Praying that I have the strength to make it through another day. Can't begin to understand all the stuff my kids go through. The pain they feel or what they think for real, it's hard to bear the truth. Snatched away, placed with strangers, broke me when I heard the news. Rotting in a prison cell for something I ain't even do. The fight is real and we won't stop till all our kids is coming home. Playing games but they ain't know they dealing with the King of Thrones. Lawyered up, got a pit bull, yeah, now it's really on. He did take my family back and trust me, we don't stand alone. This right here's for everyone who going what we going through. Be the voice for all of y'all, the pain y'all feel, I feel it too. This is wrong, it's time for change, pushing hard to make the news. Austin, Trinity, Kiara, Bella, Hope, Cam, this one's for you. Kidnapped.
This song is for all of us facing the struggle. Our kids are being taken with lies and corruption. It's not just happening to me, it's happening to everyone all across this nation. I've seen it firsthand. I've read your stories, your letters, emails. I've read reports, actual findings. Seen it happening to my family, my friends, strangers. We are parents and we're losing our rights based on lies that are being fed to the court. TCF and all these agencies use our kids to keep themselves in business. Create false scenarios, change the evidence, pay towards, lie under oath. This has gotta stop. This is wrong.
Who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stopped the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scrape their knees. Now just imagine how they mightest feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children is supposed to look? Abolish CPS.